Okay, so I had originally intended for this to be pretty abbreviated right off the bat because it is very, very late and I am very, very tired. So, like I said, I can't go through it as in depth as I usually do, and especially to go through all the eliminations in a Survivor Series match. Just they could have, because those things could just go on and on and on. So, yeah, and then added to that, we're in even more of a time crunch than usual because Peacock done mucked it up really, really bad without getting into the main event too much before we get into it, I guess. But basically, the show ended. It was off the air, and for some reason, they threw on the Ruthless Aggression episode that was about The Rock's heel turn because it's the 25th anniversary of The Rock debuting, and yeah. And instead of just, cutting the feed and having that as a separate feed, they put it all on one thing. So yeah, this was even worse than that Undertaker retirement thing from last year, which, there was a lot of understandability to it, but at least that was its own separate thing. So if you didn't want to watch that, you didn't have to. But because of that, the show ended at 10:30 my time. I mean, the show proper ended, but I couldn't watch it because it was still technically on because of this stupid Ruthless Aggression thing. So yeah, I lost another half an hour waiting for that to end. And really, if you follow me on Twitter, I really lashed out at Peacock because I just said I should be able to just cue this up and go to the beginning and just watch it. I don't know why I have to do it. Yeah. And I couldn't take it and rewind it all the way back to the start of the feed because, again, why? Yeah, I mean, I would have had a little bit of time, but just, God. Yeah, so I'm really in a hiss is what I'm basically saying. Sorry if this just comes across as really curt, but unfortunately this really did affect my enjoyment of this show. We did start things off with our kickoff match, which was Damian Priest, the United States champion against the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Not much to say here. Some good offense from both men in this, but we had the added factor of the fact that Rick Boogs was really annoying Priest, who, after Boogs played his guitar at one point, Priest told him to stop it, and that was his last warning. Boogs chose to ignore that. Priest went after Boogs, grabbed the guitar, hit Boogs with it, and then wheeled around and cracked Shinsuke with it. And that was SmackDown's first victory of the evening, I guess. I don't know if that one necessarily counted, but because, we'll get into that more. And then moving on to the show proper, and again, this is where I really had the problems crop up, because the kickoff show match I watched on YouTube because it's just easier for me that, yeah. I said, well, the show is still going, so I can watch this. The show will be over. I could, hop over to, and then, yeah. Anyway, the show proper started with Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. Again, kind of when I was due to my frustration, there's just not a lot of notes to this. There was a lot of hard hitting in this match. I guess I would be remiss if someone didn't point out that yes, Becky Lynch's outfit was a tribute to Rachel Summers in her Excalibur years. If you recall, I reviewed that comic on a Random Trade Review show. But early on, basically at one point, Becky hit Charlotte with the manhandle slam. Charlotte got her foot on the ropes. Charlotte went for a roll-up pin, but it tried to use the ropes as leverage, but the ref called her out on it. She let go. Becky countered that into a roll-up and grabbed onto the ropes for leverage, and the ref didn't see it this time. So Becky wins with a 3 count. Who's the heel in this thing? I don't think this is going to turn Charlotte into an endearing person because right now no one likes her, and yeah, Becky as the heels just isn't really working very well either. She's doing her darndest to play it, but it's just no one wants to boo her. So yeah, it just none of this is working very well, and added to that the apparently real backstage drama between these two, and it's just like I said, the match itself was fine, but unfortunately that was really the height of my anger because it was. So yeah, I didn't quite as enjoy it as much as the rest of the internet did, unfortunately. Moving on, we had the men's Survivor Series match: Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Austin Theory against Happy Corbin, Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. Early on, Rollins and Owens got into an argument over who got to start. Owens said, "Let me start." Finally, he kind of went over, but then he immediately rolled out of the ring and got intentionally counted out. So yeah, that's about the one real note there. Some interesting eliminations. Balor eliminated Corbin. Austin Theory eliminated Sheamus. And then Sheamus and Hardy were the last two. And Sheamus, when he got pinned, got up and tried to apologize to Hardy, but then attacked him, and seemed to be setting up for Theory and Rollins, who were the last two on the Raw side, to eliminate Hardy. But Hardy managed to eliminate Theory, but then Rollins got the stomp and eliminated him. In case you wonder what happened with Lashley and McIntyre, they were counted out. So, yeah. Overall, I think it was my preferred of the two matches. I think when I get to the differential, I'll get to the differential in the women's match. But yeah, this was actually my preferred one. I think it built up pretty nicely, and then the eliminations came really quickly, so I think it worked a lot better than it did. All right, our next match is the 25-man Battle Royal. Omos won that. Not too much to say, except because WWE's in line with Pizza Hut now. They were pushing Pizza, the gift thing, the triple treat box they call it, where you get two pizzas and then you get like Cinnabons or something like that on the bottom. It's 3 boxes inside of a much larger box that you can carry. I usually actually get that once a year because that larger box really makes it good for gift wrapping. But still, yeah, like I said, Omos won it. Not too much to that there. Basically, AJ Styles sat on the side of the ring for the whole time, and then when he got in, I believe Colonel Aziz tried to, Apollo's valet guy tried to pull AJ out, and Omos grabbed onto AJ's feet, but then Apollo jumped Omos from behind and caused him to drop AJ. So yeah, that was kind of what happened. Then Omos just snapped and took everyone out and won. After that, we had RK Bro versus the Usos. It's a pretty bog standard match. Orton won when one of the Usos, my audio was off, so I don't know which one it was, unfortunately, went up for his Uso splash, but then Orton hit the RKO and got the win. And at this point, it's, Raw has won every match but one, really. And of course, the one they won was by disqualification. And so our last two matches, and then we had the Women's Survivors match: Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Rhea Ripley against Sasha Banks, Shotzi Blackheart, Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm, and Natalya. Again, not too much to say here, unfortunately. This one, I think, suffered a little bit. This was way too long. At one point, the crowd was doing the wave, and that's not a good sign, because that usually means, especially since it's the Brooklyn crowd, so yeah, that means they're up to a lot of shenanigans, that they'd rather dink around with themselves than watch the match. And but Bianca Belair was the sole survivor. She was the last one left, and then Sasha got into a tussle with Shotzi, and that caused everyone else to get involved, and basically they all worked together to get Sasha counted out. So yeah, which is weird, because isn't Shotzi supposed to be the heel in this scenario? But still, yeah, and then because it looked like they had Belair in a corner, that allows Belair to fight back and win. But also you have Liv Morgan, who's the #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship, getting eliminated like second. Which, doesn't make her look like a real threat to Becky Lynch now, does it? And last but not least, we had Big E versus Roman Reigns. That was the main event. Really good match, a lot of high-impact moves. Definitely it's like Roman Reigns was dominating, but Big E kept fighting back and fighting back. And just like when it looked like Big E was going to get something, he countered a spear up into a big ending attempt. Reigns fought out of it, and I think it was supposed to look like he low-blowed Big E, but I don't think they timed it right. And it looks more like he tried to kick him in the butt and then stomped on his ankle, but it provided enough of a distraction for Reigns to hit the spear and get the 3 count. No further interference, no outside shenanigans really. So, yeah, a really good match and a pretty straightforward match, but nothing too spectacular to say about it. And yeah, and then again, the other aggravating thing that everyone pointed out was, they're promoting The Rock's movie. There was something involving an egg, because I think that's the central part of that movie, but this Netflix thing with Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot, but, The Rock isn't there. He doesn't show up at all, and everyone's like, well, why would you go through this whole thing to make it about The Rock and then not have The Rock show up? I mean... yeah, not the best move. I will say this, what's probably going to help further more speculation that The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to face each other at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, it's not going to happen. But yeah, the Roman Reigns did use the rock bottom during the match as well, so... yeah, like I said, yeah, I know this is probably allowing my experience to really taint this a lot, but yeah, it kind of happens with me. Something stupid like what Peacock pulled, really sticks in my craw and really cuts my enjoyment of the show, unfortunately. It really, really hindered it back. It's nothing against the performers, it's something against the presentation of the show, or the announcers, or anyone involved other than Peacock. You just, completely ruined this show for me. I can't go as low as an F, though. It still had a lot of enjoyable moments, so I'm going to give Survivor Series 2021 a D. So, yeah. Again, had the presentation just been better, and they not hyped up The Rock or anything like that, I just think that was stupid. It was a cool idea to homage, but then, if he's not going to show up, don't tease like he's going to show up. That's just cheap. And I'd like to talk about a lot of the other stuff that's been happening in WWE, unfortunately, but that's probably going to have to wait for another video. Again, I'm really kind of in a time crunch. I got to start work in just a little over an hour, so yeah, I don't have too much time. So I can hopefully get this edited as soon as I can. If not, it'll probably be up later this morning. Sorry. After that, the next video is going to be the Encanto review, and then the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Yeah, I know those both come out on the same day, but I'm going to need time to get everything done for that. So, see you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.